A little bit too much. This is what you don't see on the cameras.
Hi guys, while I'm still waiting for a gazillion parts, I couldn't really stay still, so I decided to tackle the cam belt today. This is going to be the second episode of the series and I hope you enjoy it.
So before we do anything to the timing chain, we first need to remove the engine cover. Let's remove the hose. That should be it. Remove the hose to the airbox. Now we need to remove these. I believe they are T25 torques. It's a T15. So with this mass airflow sensor, these connectors can sometimes be a pain, but in this case it was quite easy. You need to unclip these two clips. There's one in the back, and now we can proceed by removing the cover. I would always advise you to start from the top right corner because they are brittle. That's pretty much it. Pretty tough. The second thing is the noise pipe. It's connected with the two fast connectors, but before you remove those, you need to remove a 10mm bolt here and a Torx 30 here. So, oh, I was wrong. It's not 10mm. Somebody change it. Let's try with an 8. Yep. And here you can see the T30. Can be a pain, so I have more leverage. Yep, there we go. As I told you, rusty crusty. The engine actually looks okay, apart the thing that somebody used some grease here for some reason. And what I didn't mention in the last part, the high pressure fuel pump is Hitachi, so we are going to need to change that as well. Let's try by pulling the connectors out. Here is one quick this, but this works perfectly well. Yeah, that's gonna be enough. Yeah, there we go. Here as well. Yep. There it is. Remove this, of course. We're gonna tighten this up for now. Let's remove the connector. Yep. Yep, buddy. Let's use a 10mm to remove this. Go. Basically, to remove the charcoal filter, we had two bolts here. I believe this is a 10mm, and down there I think is an 8, but let's see. now, so it doesn't cause us any trouble. The second thing is removing this water coolant bottle. I believe it's a D25, but let's see. Yeah, let's remove this from here. Now would be a good idea to remove this and put some tray underneath the car so we don't have any leakage. It may leak some coolant. Now let's move this thingy out of the way. As I told you, it's leaking coolant. Now we can move it away so we can walk in peace. And before we go anywhere further, I would like to disconnect the car battery. So the negative first. Somewhere where it won't bother us. Now the positive terminal. That's gonna do it for me. Now, before I do anything else, I want to move this coolant line. Now, let's remove this connector as well. Hoopla. There we go. I'm gonna put it through the dipstick. We will need to remove this coolant line, but before we do that, let's remove our serpentine belt. And the way we do that is with a 17mm. When you pull this thing back, you do need to lock it with a pin or something like this, and now it comes off freely. Yep, let's see the damage on this baby. It looks... yeah, it has a lot of cracks. Look at this. Jesus. But I'm not sure why just on one side. Never mind. Is it the original one? Yep, it's still the original one. Jesus. Let's remove the tensioner itself. Since we are changing it, it's held on 3 13mm bolts. The reason I'm removing it is since it's shaking, and here you can see it's all torn up. Yeah, and it doesn't even move freely. Out with the old. I'm going to lift the car up, remove the wheel, and then remove the plastics underneath so we can drain the coolant. remove the hose, lower radiator hose. That's one side. It actually doesn't have much oil inside, but it's surprising. Oh. Your life will be easier with this tool. Remove this coolant hose as well. The fuck is this even? It's rubber, something like rubber that can be super glue as well. So once we drain the coolant, the second thing we need to do is remove the timing belt cover. These are way too tight, man. So we should start by removing these two bolts first. It's an 80mm socket. Now we need a 60mm for these two bolts. That's one. And these are also torque to yield bolts, and we need to replace them. Remove these two bolts. Luckily, this baby BW40 is gonna help. Jesus, I'm gonna do it with the gun. There's our engine mount. It is a little bit wear down, but it will work perfectly. Yeah, that's pretty good. I think it's Lim Forder who manufactured. Now the shittiest part is to removing these bolts. So firstly, I'm gonna lift up the car so I can access this one. Remove. You don't have to. So now we're going to find TDC on the engine. It's always good to put it in fourth gear. It can be a lot easier. Release the tension. Here comes the water. and it looks horrible.
Here you can see me using the G12 Evo coolant, and the reason behind that is because I think the G13 is a little bit too aggressive to the hoses. To tighten the tensioner, you need to use a 8mm Allen key, and the way you do it is by turning it clockwise until the notches align. After the first time, you need to relieve the tension and do it once more and tighten the bolts. I decided not to bore you guys with reinstalling every single bolt. The reinstallment is pretty much the reversal of what we just did. Just make sure you torque everything down and triple check the timing. So I ran the car and it runs beautifully. The second thing to check is the cam positions on VCDS, or in my case OBD11. So we are going to connect this. So go into control units. Let's find engine, live data. And the first block we are going to check is 091. And this is actually perfect. Here you can see it's 28. As a cherry on top, I decided to change the oil and coolant cap for these new Audi R8 OEM caps. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you have any thoughts, please leave them in the comments.